ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike Larkin, one half of the S&M Show Podcast Network, and I'm back today with another edition of On the Mic with Mike. This Sunday, July 29th, Impact Wrestling and AML Wrestling is going to be having a show on Twitch. Matches include Moose versus Jackson Stone, Eddie Edwards versus Chris Payne, the Extreme Horsemen versus the Heavenly Bodies for the AML Tag Team Championships, Matt Seidel and Caleb Conley, Fallah Bahh and Zane Dawson, Suicide versus Brandon Scott versus Devin Driscoll versus Sean Denny versus Gifted One Yana, Eli Drake versus Axton Ray, and Ali versus my guest today, the alien, Kristen Statlander. Kristen, it's a pleasure to be talking to you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I gotta say this right now. I'm very happy to see you get this opportunity. You got a one-on-one match coming up with Ali, Cherry Bomb, just an amazing overall competitor. You must be excited coming up upon this weekend.
Yeah, actually, it's not a singles match anymore. They apparently the Team Impact said that there was an uneven amount of people, so there was less people on Impact Team and more people on AML. So now it's a triple threat with me, Ali, and Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, okay. I thank you for correcting me because that was the last I saw on the card. So, well, that's gotta be even more great because you got Tessa Blanchard in there. You know, third generation. Just overall, that adds another great element to the matchup.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna die, but that's okay.
Well, at least you could say that you had the great opportunity to work with such awesome people, right?
Exactly.
Now, first and foremost, I'm a fellow Long Islander like yourself, and I've always said this in my interviews when I have fellow New Yorkers on. The top two schools out there, and there are a lot of great schools out in New York, but Creative Pro and New York Wrestling Connection, the NYWC, are two of my absolute favorites. So you got to tell me, what was it like being trained at Creative Pro and being the first ever female graduate of Creative Pro?
It was a lot of hard work. I'm still training every day pretty much because you can never stop learning in wrestling. We had a couple of girls come and go from the school, so it was mostly just me training with the guys and not always trying to outshine them, but to be at their level as well. So it's just a lot of consistent hard work and passion, pretty much. A lot of fun, though.
I gotta ask you, now Kurt Hawkins, I've said this many a times. I've seen Kurt, the first time I actually saw him was at NYWC doing his thing with Brett Matthews, Zack Ryder, when they used to come out to the Backstreet Boys and be managed by Prince Charles, and just to see their rise from the Major Brothers to Hawkins and Ryder. So talk about being trained and just working with Kurt Hawkins overall as well.
It's great. He's so cool. He's so talented and smart in wrestling. Honestly, it's hard for me to say that I wouldn't want to be trained by anybody else because I really didn't know anything about wrestling before I started training. But I feel like being at Creative Pro is the perfect pick, and I wouldn't want to have trained anywhere else. And Kurt Hawkins still has so much to offer, and he's just been such a huge supporter and a huge help. And he's not just like that for me; he is for everybody at the school too. And he makes sure everyone gets attention and everyone gets to where they need to be.
Now, I gotta say this as well. I'll take it back a little bit with you. Growing up, did you have any, as far as wrestling goes, did you have a defining moment or a matchup, or it could have been a promo that you said, you know what, this is something that I want to pursue, or did you, get into wrestling more later in life?
I knew nothing about wrestling before I started training.
Oh, wow, okay. So
absolutely nothing.
Okay. Well, how did you first get, interested into it, or just, how you found out about it?
So I met, I used to go to school in New Jersey I went to college in New Jersey for a year, and I actually met Tony from the Down Boys there, and he was in one of my classes with me. And then I told him, I was like, hey, I'm dropping out of school after this year. I'm going to go train to be a stunt double. And he's like, oh, cool. Well, wrestle, and we're going to be on Long Island for some shows. So you should just come to the shows, and we'll see, since you're doing that stuff, see what we can do with you. So they brought me in as, a manager for 2 years, and I was there as a manager for 2 years, and then I decided to start training because I really wanted to get in the ring. And, yeah, that's kind of, I just looked up schools. I saw some of the people on DPW were training at Creative Pro or doing shows at Creative Pro, so I checked it out, and that's how I found the school. Awesome. I went to a Creative Pro show one day, and I signed up that night, actually.
Nice. Now I
So,
gotta ask. You also mentioned stunt woman. As far as like stunts, can you tell us a little bit about some of your stunt work, if any?
yeah, it hasn't been a super great deal because I still have to get my SAG-AFTRA card to actually do like stuff on movies and whatnot. But I think my biggest project I've done. MTV had this like kind of a prank show running. I think it was just one season that they did called Ladylike, and I did it was like it was kind of like a prank show where it was a speed dating gig thing, and eventually like one of the girls got like super jealous, and then some other girl started talking to there's the two actresses that one of them got really jealous and started fighting with the other one a little bit. So then I went over and started talking to the guy that she was like obsessed with, and then she came over and hit me with the table. So that was kind of like the biggest thing I did.
Okay. Well, that I did actually have to ask this as I'm doing research, going to the scene. I'm like, stunt woman. Okay, I got to find out more about this because I mean that's got to be exciting for you just to dabble in that area as well.
Yeah, it's so much fun. So much fun. I love it. It's like wrestling. It's a lot like wrestling, the stunt family.
I'll be honest with you. This actually kind of reflects to my form because I actually had on. You remember Trinity, who was in TNA in the early stages, and she was in WWE for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so she also does her stunt. She's a stunt woman and she's an actressing as well. So we got to talk about and dabble about that. So I think that's cool because it shows more elements besides wrestle, but that you dabble in this. So like I said, you're like a jack of all trades. You're just doing your thing and you're just willing to try new things.
Yeah, definitely. I love doing adrenaline type things and just crazy things.
Okay. Now, as far as Creative Pro goes, yeah, I love asking this as well. Talk about who was your first match against and talk about the overall experience going into that matchup.
My first match was another girl that used to train at Creative Pro. Her name was Izzy McKenna. I don't remember exactly how I felt. I was kind of just like, okay, like I was very calm about it. I don't know. I wasn't like I was more nervous about it like the day of. That's always how I am with like big shows or big matches coming up. I get nervous about it like the day of when I'm at the show. But we had been like talking about the match for like a couple of weeks, like just like trying to have some ideas of what to do. And looking back at it now, it probably wasn't as good as I thought it was. I was so proud of it, and it probably was nowhere near as good as I really thought it was back when it happened. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it was my first match, and my first match is someone who really knew nothing about wrestling. And I had actually had my first full match technically 8 months after I started training, but 2 of those months I was out with a broken heel. So it was technically like 6 months of training, and I had my first match.
Oh, wow.
Which I guess I can say, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually going to follow up with that because, you know, wrestling is not ballet, as they say. Obviously, you know, guys and girls do get hurt and they put their bodies on the line. That's why I have a lot of respect for what you guys do. I was actually going to ask you about the injuries. Besides the heel, is there anything else injury-wise that you've had, or that's been like the main thing as far as just injuries?
That was, I think, my most major one. I've had little things here and there which haven't really deterred me from wrestling. I was told I might have broken my sternum, but then they were like, oh no, we think it's fine. So, but I never stopped wrestling or anything while that happened, but that's fine. I'm okay.
All right, good. That's what I said. I want to see you healthy and well. Excellent. Another thing I got to say,
yeah.
As far as Creative Pro goes, I see a lot of like the New York talents, obviously, like from NYWC and all that. The graduates like yourself, Bronson, the dastardly MJF. I mean, though you guys are just a great crop of talent, just great all in your own right, but I've seen people like Francis Kip Stevens and CPA, the Breakfast Club. You got the Shook crew with Max Caster and all of them. So again, Creative Pro, I just wanted to add on that. You see a lot of great New Yorkers there and fellow Northeast talents, and you guys do like a lot of birthday parties and have a lot of surprises come in there as well as far as talent goes. So you guys overall are just excellent at what you guys provide.
Yeah, it's really such a great place to be, and I think we offer a lot that other places might not offer. Not just to the people who are training, but we also have opportunities to like train referees and train managers and things like that, people who don't necessarily want to be actual wrestlers. We give them a breakdown. They have to do the basics, but we offer opportunities for all fields of wrestling. And then again, we have like other people, like we can have birthday parties and things like that. We've done like fundraisers, and we do fair shows, and there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of ways to get your foot out the door because of what the school offers.
I got to mention this to you as well, because I saw it on social media, and I got to say, I liked the photo. I thought it was beautifully shot. Man, I saw you with DJ Hyde on your shoulders, and I got to say, the strength, and oh my goodness, I really dug that. That was a cool shot.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest ego boost of my life, knowing that I could get DJ. DJ was a little, like, afraid. He was kind of like, oh, you can get me? I'm like, bro, I got you. And he's like, okay, what are you going to do if it messes up? I'm like, I'm not going to mess it up. I got you. And then I proved him wrong, and I got him on my shoulders, and I face bumped him like I planned. So
that's what I got to say.
It was a very proud moment for me. I know it's like such a little thing, but I was like, just being able to prove people wrong, those little things, it's very rewarding.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you are proving a lot of people wrong, and just with your strength there, again, immense strength doing your thing. I think you're showing the naysayers as well, because like I said, I'm a fan of your work, and what I'm most a fan of as well, I like uniqueness in character. So I dig the whole alien thing, and that was actually going to be my follow-up question. How did the whole alien come into your persona and your overall character? Because I really dig it. I think you play it off and do it very well.
Thank you. I don't really know where I got the idea to do it. I just know I was like thinking about other girls, and I'm like, I don't really see anybody doing anything like this at all. And I don't know, I'm strange. I like space. I love science. I love the whole like outer space and learning about all different galaxies and things like that. I've always been such a huge fan of that. But then in like a more metaphorically way of putting it, it's I'd say with like wrestling characters, I would say it's like an upturned version of yourself, and I'd say it's in a weird way it kind of is, because like growing up in school and everything, like I didn't like have a set group of friends. I didn't really fit in anywhere. I would get along with people. I was friendly with everyone, but like I just never had like a set place where I fit in, and that's kind of how like aliens are. Like they're here, they're present, but you know, they don't really fit in anywhere. They're similar, but they're different, and that's why I feel like it's kind of relating to me in the same way, where I'm not like anything else because I don't know what I am. I'm not like everything else.
Now, 2 points to that I will add. First off, been there as far as schools go, and as far as growing up that end, been there. And second of all, I will say, I think that's what's great about it, because like I said, what's great about characters, you look at, for a prime example, Stone Cold Steve Austin starts out the ringmaster in the WWF, then they just let him be himself, and bam, like you, it's just, this is a character that relates to yourself, and bam, you're just riding on and just going on with what you're doing. So like I said, I commend you for that. You're just being yourself with the volume turned up.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Now let's get into some of your opponents, because this actually kind of relates to Impact Wrestling in a way, because you got Allie, you got Tessa Blanchard coming up this Sunday with Impact and AML, but you have got to work with Rosemary, you've got to work with Sienna. Talk about working with those ladies.
It was a lot of fun. Rosemary was my first like kind of name person, and I was so nervous about that. It was because we were on kind of early in the show, and she was out doing meet and greets, so we didn't really get a chance to talk or anything. I was freaking out. I was crying in the back, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to ruin everything. I'm going to, like, be so hard to work with. And it ended up being great, and she really liked it, and she enjoyed it. So I worked myself up for nothing. Sienna, I was much more, like, calm about. She said, like, oh, Rosemary put in a good word for you. Like, and she didn't really have, like, as a person who's been working a lot longer than I have, like, I've only been working 2 years, which a lot of people find it hard to believe. And I've been able to keep up almost with their level, and it's a very rewarding feeling. And the fact that they I don't want to say they think highly of me, but they didn't like tear apart anything. Like they enjoyed the matches that we had, and I was able to put on a good show with them. So I was very excited about that, and it's a very rewarding thing to know.
I will say this, I watched those matches. They were very, very good. And I got to say, you're also learning from great. I mean, you look at Rosemary, Courtney Rush, team with Sarah Del Rey, Sarah Amato, WWE, Shimmer. She's just been all over the place. Same with Allison Kay, Women of Honor, Shine, Shimmer, the whole nine. So you're working with veterans in there, and they took care of you. And like I said, Rosemary, like you said, Rosemary putting the word for you. You guys delivered.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, here's the thing. Like, I research your opponents, and you got a lot of great ones. But, man, I got to mention another one. You got to get in there with Karen Q, Women of Honor, doing her thing on that. And talk about working with Karen Q.
Oh, she was so much fun. I knew her from, like, when she really just started, because where I knew her from was BPW. And that was, like, I was just messaging at that time. So I've known her since I, like, just got into wrestling, before I even still really knew what wrestling was. So we were already friends, and like finally getting the opportunity to just have like, we've only had like, I think one singles match. So, but yeah, it was great. It was great working with her. She's very, very cool.
Another one I have to mention as well is, now, this woman, she's a bigger woman, and a very beautiful one at that, and a tremendous athletic opponent. Uses her assets, no pun intended, but I got to talk about the girl that makes the milkshake, brings all the boys together. We got to talk about Faye Jackson, talk about working with Faye Jackson.
She's so much fun. She's such like a ball of energy and just like a ball of sunshine. I love her. She's, I remember that day, she, I think, was recovering from having like bronchitis or something. So it was a little hard, but it was, given the circumstances, it's still so much fun. It was great being able to work with her.
Another one I have to mention here is because I've seen this girl since 2012 when she started doing her thing in NYWC. She's done her thing in Warriors of Wrestling, another New York promotion. You got to tell me about working with Nikki Adams. I know you did a tag match with VSK against her, Nikos Ricos. Just talk about working with Nikki Adams, VSK, Nikki Ricos, the whole thing right there.
Yeah, she's another one that, just like with Karen, she was at VPW, and I had just started, or just like, yeah, where I just started managing, and that was, it was super fun working with her. I had a couple, I think, tag matches with her. Maybe, I think we had just one singles match also, but it was so much fun. I think we really put on a good show at our singles match, kind of like our blow-off type of thing. But it was a lot of fun. She was great to work with.
I think what's great also about it is, and I'll backtrack a little here, but man, you've been doing your thing, Creative Pro. I've seen you do your thing with Wrestle Pro. Limitless Wrestling is another promotion. So like I said, you're just making the rounds, and it's just great to see. Like you mentioned, you've been in there for 2 years. I've had people in here that have been in 2 years, and just to see your progression, just to see the hard work and the passion that you have, it's amazing. And I really, truly, again, with the utmost sincerity and respect to you, wish you nothing but the best and continued success.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And like this weekend, I'm actually not just going to be in North Carolina just for AML. I'm going down there for the Queens of Combat SuperCon as well. So I'm going to be there for 3 days.
Nice.
And wrestling twice for that also. So I think I have a match with, I'm not sure if the matches are announced yet, but there's a singles match, and then the second day it's another triple threat with actually 2 other girls that were on Impact formerly, or might still be. I think they're still on. Anyway, so I have a triple threat with 2 Impact girls on Friday, and then I have the other Impact triple threat with Allie and Tessa on Sunday. So,
very
and it's
nice.
my first time in the with all 4 of them, so it's crazy.
Now, I actually have more opponents to talk about in a couple last topics, and I'll put the invitation out to you as well, Kristen. Anytime you want to come back on this show, you're more than welcome to. It's been a blast talking to you today.
Oh, cool. Definitely.
Now, all right. Now, I have to bring up this topic. We'll come back to your opponents because I got a couple more, but I want to talk about this topic. What do you think about the transition with MMA and wrestling? I mean, this has actually been like started since like the 90s. You had guys like Ken Shamrock in, you had Dan Severn, you have the likes of Tank Abbott, and then you see more current day. You know, you see your Brock Lesnar, CM Punk dabbled in it. You see Ronda Rousey coming in, you see Shayna Baszler, even the whole four horsewomen are in NXT right now. So what do you think about that transition with MMA and pro wrestling?
I don't care. It's everyone does their own thing, and like I think it makes things more exciting because wrestling is not what it used to be, where wrestling was just strictly one type of wrestling, and now there's just so many more fun things. There's the comedy stuff. There's like the technical stuff. You have the big move. You have the cruiserweights, and I think it's cool being able to blend it all together so you can see different styles work together, and it just makes it more exciting. I think I love the idea of it. I think everyone deserves a chance to do whatever they want, and if this is just going to bring more eyes and more awareness to wrestling, I'm all for it. It's definitely really cool. I think I love how wrestling has been able to bring a lot of people together to begin with, and now it's just expanding the opportunity and expanding its like arms out to more people. So all power to it.
All right. And the other thing I'll mention is the women's wrestling, because everybody talks about the evolution, the revolution, you know, from the days of bra and panties to bikini contests and pillow fights and all this. To see you girls get the time and work is great as well. So I got to say, how do you feel about the whole how women's wrestling has evolved and changed over the last decade and a half, whatever it may be?
I think it's cool. Like I said, I really didn't know anything about wrestling beforehand, so my knowledge of all those things, I've seen some stuff. I wasn't around in the business or aware of the business when all that stuff was going on, so I don't really have like I can't say I was offended by it because I didn't know about it, but I think it's cool that people are being able to work at the same level now. I don't know. I appreciate the up and coming level that women can work at now.
Okay, well, I'll tell you right now, I'm sure, and I can tell you this right now, with the way that you go and the way that you, again, your passion and your drive, I can say some girl is going to be watching a match. You know what? I watched the alien Kris and Statlander, and that is one of the reasons why I wanted to get into pro wrestling. So you definitely are inspiring some youngins.
I hope so, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, I gotta say, like you mentioned, the 2 years, I think you're doing well. And like I said, you're gonna go far. Again, just keep shining. And as far as your opponents go, I just have a couple more here I want to discuss with you. Man, I see you go at it promo-wise, tag match-wise, just singles match-wise. Ashley Vox, one half of Team C Stars. Talk about working with Ashley.
She's so much fun to work with. We're trying to figure out the singles match we're supposed to do to blow off when I attack her, because she's at the Vacation Land Cup, and no, I'm not going to be randomly showing up and attacking her this time. And then I think there's another show coming up that she's not going to be on, so I don't know when we're going to go at it one-on-one, but hopefully soon, because the other two matches I've been able to have with her were so much fun. She's a pleasure.
And what's great about it is, like, I've seen, like, the Fatal 4-Ways you've done. Like, Alley Cat is another name that sticks out. I've seen you do your thing with Corinne Mink, Penelope Ford, Casey Cattell. So, again, more great matches from you. Just all more great wrestlers on the rise as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, before we do close this out, I got to mention this. If you have any advice to give to either guys or gals that, you know, want to pursue a career in pro wrestling, what would that be?
If you want to be a wrestler, you have to be a wrestler 24/7. There's no shortcuts. You have to dedicate your entire time to it. And I've been doing the best I can with it, but I'm also juggling work, and I'm in school again right now. So I've been in school for almost the entire time that I've been training. So it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of stress, and just you have to be a wrestler from the second you wake up, from the second you go to sleep, you're a wrestler. You have the wrestler mindset. Think about wrestling. Be committed to training. It's painful. It hurts. It sucks, but it's so worth it if you really want it.
And once again, beautifully said. One thing I forgot to mention, I'll just backtrack, my apologies. But, all right, Alley Cat, we mentioned. Penelope Ford, Casey Cattell, Corinne Mink. More great matches and great opponents that you got to work with. But one in particular I got to ask. The Maine State Posse. Talk about working with the Maine State Posse.
They were super cool. Yeah, there's a lot of fun and just creativity going into that match. And it was kind of just bouncing a lot of ideas off of each other. And us three girls, me, Ashley, and Allie, we all had our little strange gimmicks. And then they were just some random dudes from Maine. So it was really fun trying to figure out how to play up all these characters with some like homegrown talent. So it was a lot of fun. And I think we pulled it off pretty well.
And I think also you mentioned the character aspect because, Alley Cat, the powerful cat. I mean, you look at Penelope Ford, the bad girl Penelope Ford. You got Casey Cattell, Corinne Mink, the golden girl. So, again, a lot of elements with the character-wise. And, again, just a lot of great up-and-coming talent. So the future is bright. I must say, the future is bright.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, this is where I will actually step back. And, Kristen, please promote the Facebook, the Twitter, Instagram, the YouTube. The floor is yours. And again, the upcoming events, reiterate, Impact AML, Queens of Combat. Go right ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. I'm not going to say Facebook because it's kind of like personal Facebook, but I still accept some people on it. So don't look on my Facebook. But on Twitter and Instagram, you can find me at Call Me Kris Stat, and Kris is spelled with a K, R-I-S, and Stat is spelled S-T-A-T. Call Me Kris Stat. I'll spell the whole thing. CALLMEKRISSTAT, because people don't know how to spell my name, and people always mess up my name for some reason. So, so that's my Twitter and Instagram. Call me Kris Stat. And this weekend, I'll be at Queens of Combat SuperCon in Raleigh on Friday and Saturday. There's a meet and greet, and there's a show both days. Sunday, I'll be at AML in, I think, Greensboro, North Carolina.
Yep.
And then I think the weekend after, we have Creative Pro Wrestling, we have the Shook Crew Fun Fair, there's a carnival before the show, and then we have a jam-packed show. Crazy, it's not just going to be regular wrestling, there's going to be crazy fun matches, like crazy gimmick matches. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm wrestling Tara Calloway, so it's going to be an Alien vs. Predator match, which is so exciting.
Okay. Now, first of all, two things. One, off topic. When you were starting to do your Twitter with the Call Me Kris Stat, the first thing that came up to my head was Call Me, Beat Me if you want to reach me. All of a sudden, Kim Possible just gave it to my brain when you started doing the Twitter. So that I'll mention. Sorry about that. And
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Well, that kind of is. I think they're doing like a live action movie coming to that soon with like different characters, so you won't see Christy, Carlson Romano, Will Friedle from Boy Meets World and that. But yeah, again, sorry, but I had a moment. And number two, I got to mention as well, Tara Calloway. Man, first of all, congratulations to her. She just got engaged. But Tara Calloway is another one. I'm glad you mentioned Tara, because Tara is another one. Girl, I mean, she just did a Masters of the Mat for NYWC, so another one who's great. I'm looking forward to Alien vs. Predator. That's a great dynamic and dichotomy right there.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. I only really got to work with her a little bit we had a triple threat match with her and Corinne Mink, actually. So I got a little taste of what it was like to work with her, and she's super cool, super fun. I'm so excited. I love her. And I was asked to pick an opponent for that show, for the Shook Crew Fun Fair, and I picked her because I was like, I have not worked her singles match, and why not? She's close by, and I love her. So I'm so excited for it.
And I look forward to checking out those matches. And Kristen, overall, I'll say this once again, just to reiterate. I really wish nothing but continued success and just keep shining. Creative Pros doing their thing. I really want to see you just keep on, just going out there and killing it. I truly, again, and I really can't wait to have you back on the show in the future. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. So for Kristen Statlander, my name is Mike Larkin. This will conclude another On the Mic with Mike. And guys, I'll talk to you soon. Everyone have a great day.